To get access to this tool and any of our other tools that you might use in your real estate practice, visit lesix.agency/ultimate guide to register today. Don't forget that you can also subscribe to this channel to stay up to date on our latest tutorials and overviews of how AI can help you grow your real estate business and maximize the value of your time. So today I want to look at Sora, which is OpenAI's new text-to-video generator. Similar to DALL-E and Midjourney is text-to-image. You can use prompts to create what essentially amounts to B-roll footage that can be used in any sort of video marketing that you want to use. Since this is a newer feature that was released by OpenAI, and you might be playing around with this yourself, let's just take a look under the hood a little bit, see how it works, and see what kind of outputs that we can produce, and try to test out the system a little bit. So before going into some of the videos that you see here, some of which are actually pretty good quality, and some of which when we scroll down might be a little bit more dubious, let's look at what it is that you have to do on Sora to produce this type of content. You have your features down here. You can choose between a landscape, a square, or a portrait. You can choose between what resolution you want. And my assumption is that if you buy into the new enterprise level account setting for the way that I term it, the $200 per month, you get the 1080p. You get longer video clips that can last up to 20 seconds. You get more variations of those video clips if you want to. You can create up to 4. You might be able to do more after that. Who knows? But you can set those parameters in order to create these videos how you want them. You can even storyboard a video. So if you click on storyboard, you can use these images and clips and prompts to help create the storyboard for your video and give it some guidance as to how you want to craft it. So I uploaded this image from Midjourney that I created of my pup as a 1920s era gangster. My pup named Happy. And you can see here the scene features a dog dressed in an impeccably tailored vintage brown suit, matching tie, confidently in an elegant, dimly lit room. Pretty accurate description of the scene. You can see here that I can move around because this is a 9:16. I can move around the portrait here. I want to change this to 720p. I actually want to change it to a square so that we get the full image. And you can see once the full image is laid out, we might want to edit this a little bit, and it'll give us a chance to type in, and maybe I want to say lends an air of sophistication and mystery as ready. Let's say it lends it an air of quiet authority, as if he's the don of a pack of golden retrievers in the 1920s. The soft lighting highlights the texture of the fabric and fur. All looks pretty good. So at this point, I just want to check off my features. I want 2 variations. Maybe I want film noir because this is a 1920s style film, and I click create. So at this point, using the storyboard, we're able to create a short 5-second clip that I could potentially use in other forms of media. I'm going to let the clip create, and then we'll come back and take a look. You can see the 2 outputs here, and you can see that the model is in its early infancy. And when we pause on these videos, these 2 variations here, I mean, you can see right in this particular instance, the body of the dog behind this suit thing, and it just doesn't match. It doesn't have that same look and feel that the image does. And you can see the same thing here with this more close-up image of Happy. You still get the same elements of the picture. It's using the information from the picture to create this particular image or this particular video. And again, you can see the fact that it does a really good job of creating and modeling the animal with the fedora. But the more anthropomorphic features of wearing a well-tailored three-piece suit just didn't come through in the same way using the storyboard feature, which again is perfectly fine because this is a newer model. It's just like DALL-E or Midjourney. It's going to take time to refine this model. Anybody that tells you that there's a perfect prompt doesn't understand the nature of AI. Has nothing to do with prompts. I mean, prompts are important because you have to tell it what to do, but the data, the information is so much more important. And videos are going to be a very iterative process in training these models to be even better. And when we go back to the home screen, you can see some of the strengths of the model as well as some of the weaknesses that the model might portray. One thing I will tell you is that the weaknesses tend to show themselves when there are more complicated movements and there are more complicated features, like an anthropomorphic dog wearing a three-piece suit. But you can see here that this B-roll, fantastic B-roll. It's interesting, it's simple, it's very clean, and if you wanted to add it to a marketing project of yours that talked about creativity and futurescapes and whatnot, you'd probably have a very valuable piece of B-roll there. You compare that to this video of the snow tiger, though, and you do see some glitches in the model, from the way he's walking across the snow to the way you can see the leg just kind of twist around the body there. You're going to have those sorts of difficulties. So it's a good way to understand how it is that you can use this model right now. And that is to probably stay away from movements like this and definitely movements like that, to focusing on movements of, say, like a train, or this bird here actually is pretty good. This is actually not a bad video here because there's not a ton of movement. This is another great one of what looks like an AI businessman in that same sort of time period that we used with the picture. So the point of all this is focus your prompts on producing B-roll that is simpler in nature. Massive movement will tend to create more opportunities for the model to, quote-unquote, make a mistake. But that said, let's use a prompt here and say, craft a video of a real estate professional showing a home. The real estate professional is accompanied by an AI avatar that is definitely identifiable as AI but has human-like qualities. Very general prompt, doesn't indicate a lot of action. Showing a home is a real basic action. So let's see what it produces here. So let's look at the outputs of that prompt and see what came up with. Compare it to the storyboard option that we did. And I think this confirms everything that I've said before, that you want to limit the amount of movement in your videos. There are some great qualities in this video that would lend itself to being something that could potentially be B-roll if it wasn't disqualified for very particular things. The first one, the big AI avatar, just weird. Some holographic thing that was created and added to the video. Very, very strange. But you also notice the hands are interesting from the perspective of the real estate agent moving her hands. Well, there are a ton of good qualities in this video that, again, if it was just the surroundings, would make fantastic B-roll. From the LED illuminated ceiling, you can see that there are some elements here. They're a little weird, like the lighting, but you wouldn't necessarily notice it right away. But otherwise, the setting is fairly good. It's a well-staged home and very similar to probably what you'd see in a lot of homes. But this big, creepy, ghoulish AI figure here and the hands would tell me that my prompt needs to be refined a little bit better. Let's look at the second option here. And this, again, is a real estate professional showing what looks to be a similar room. Again, the lights on the top of the ceiling, not really set in the way that you would expect lights, recessed lighting to be set in a ceiling. This now female anthropomorphic AI avatar just kind of awkwardly stands there and then turns off the cameras and walks away in a very ghoulish scene. And again, the hands, if you're looking closely, maybe a little bit out of whack. Maybe you would take notice of it. But outside of those particular things, especially in the scene itself, this once again would be good B-roll video that you could potentially use if those things were to be cleaned up. And this is where in these early models, prompts will become incredibly important because the data in these models hasn't accumulated enough knowledge for the model to improve. So you're going to find just weird things like ghoulish, ghostly AI avatars and hands not working the way that they should. All of this is to say, early model, play around with it, see if you can find some nuggets, and definitely peruse the videos that you see on the home screen to get inspiration for videos that you can use.